Welcome back to the wonderful world of Gamface. As usual, I, Julia Hardy, am here to deliver this half hour of video gaming features and bounteous competitions. We've been wearing out the skin in our thumbs this week, preparing the game reviews that you chose via our website polls. It's a tough job, but someone's got to do it. I'll also be announcing last week's Gamface Challenge winners and revealing what's up for grabs in this week's competition. It's a biggie, but more of that later. You lot really kicked in the door on this week's website's polls. We saw the voting that shifted to and fro across the options right up until the last second. But once the dust had finally settled, there was a clear winner. And roll BT. Take your Rad X and slip on your Wasteland survival suit. We're stepping out of the vault and into post-apocalyptic Washington, D.C. to bring you our review of Fallout 3. It's a tough world out there, and if you're not familiar with this award-winning RPG, here is what to expect. Plot-wise, you're thrown a few curveballs. What starts out as a search for your dad escalates into a battle not just for your survival, but for the future of the good citizens out there struggling against the daily terror of super mutants and raiders. In order to get anywhere, you'll be sent on a variety of quests into the abandoned city ruins and the DC metro system, where you will encounter the nightmare of other bunkers that weren't as fortunate as your own. These missions sprawl into the countryside, which houses its own share of horrors and surprises. That doesn't mean you'll have to face the terror on your own, though. Throughout the game, you'll be given the opportunity to recruit companions to act as hired guns. They all have their own personality and backstories, but will only be interested in accompanying you if you're as good or as wicked as they are. These buddies will provide invaluable backup against the legion of armies that are waiting to shoot and or eat you. The only drawback is that whilst your bodyguards are keen to keep you alive, you'll have to work just as hard to make sure they look after themselves, keeping them healed and making sure they don't walk into the sights of a rocket launcher wielding raider. Fallout is huge. About a quarter of the map is dedicated to the ruined Washington, D.C., peppered with noteworthy landmarks such as the Lincoln Memorial and countless other buildings waiting to be delved into. The rest is the apocalyptic wilderness, but it's far from barren. Every building left standing offers up ammo or another prize that makes it worth exploring. You can often get utterly sidetracked from your quest as you amble off in no set direction on an adventure of your own. Just make sure you're carrying enough ammo for what's around the corner. Fallout's arsenal is amongst the biggest out there. It starts with pool cues and flick knives, and from there it just gets bigger and badder. There are revolvers and machine guns to gruesome flamethrowers and Gatling guns. The weapons just keep getting more and more extreme, ending appropriately on the Batman launcher, a bazooka that fires mini nuclear missiles. Impressive as this explosion is, there are creatures that can survive this. What's our secret weapon? The alien ray gun, the rarest shooter out there. Use the ammo sparingly. Wild dogs roam the countryside, as do giant ants and fearsome proud scorpions. These are but the smallest of creatures. On top of this, robot soldiers built before the Great War lumber across the land taking potshots at you, their programming convinced that you're a communist invader. You can't seem to catch a break, really. The surviving humans have banded together to form raider parties. Their only interests are looting and murder, and not necessarily in that order. Watch your step. Every stretch of new road or new building is an ambush waiting to happen. Fallout has more gimmicks than it knows what to do with. Its moral system determines on which missions you can go on and constantly updates how characters will react to you. Remember, this is an RPG, so keep your stats tuned up to use abilities such as lockpick and computer hacking. There's dozens of other perks to be had, including being deputized. Now you can get paid to bring justice to the wasteland. A slightly less guilt-free way of getting bottle caps. Games out there that warrant several replays, but the combinations for character, archetypes and wealth of discoveries waiting for you, it's just too much to resist. Fallout 3 builds of a great heritage and yet manages to be a uniquely charismatic game. It may not have its icons like other franchises, but the encounters you will have in this game will stick with you for a very long time. No game will push your survival instincts further than this one. Roll up, come one and all, come gather and bathe in the eye-searing glow of your TV screen. First up, just let me offer my congratulations to last week's chosen few. Yes, you, whose names appear before me. How does it feel to be famous? Your prizes are winging their way to you, courtesy of our oversized Gamface carrier pigeons. And now for the rest of you sofa dwellers, you didn't win last week. So what? It just means that fickle Lady Luck was otherwise occupied. But maybe she'll come and knocking this week. And here's what she could be bringing you. This week we're not only offering you the chance to win, but also the opportunity to choose what you win. First up, courtesy of Activision, we've got a Giant Guitar Hero 5 bundle, including a copy of the game, drums, guitar and mic, as well as a copy of Guitar Hero World Tour. Alternatively, and courtesy of Supercar Challenge, you can have an extremely limited edition Ferrari F430 model and a copy of the game itself. Which prize is it to be? A living room full of rocking gear or an inspirational priceless limited edition racing icon? Well, you'll need to answer our question correctly first to be in with a chance of choosing your winnings. From all the right answers, each week we'll randomly select our winner and then choose. Call me on 0901 533 5055 and answer the following question for a chance at winning. Which of the following games has not been released yet? Is it Fallout 3, Street Fighter 4 or Gears of War 3? Calls cost £1 from BT landlines, but from other networks may be higher and from mobiles considerably more. For full terms and conditions, see gamepraise.bravo.co.uk and please ensure that you have the bill payer's permission before calling. Competition closes Monday at 1 p.m. Member of a crack squad of super soldiers fitted with the most advanced weapons technology ever available. Oh yeah, and you're based on a toy. This is G.I Joe Rise of the Cobra, an up-and-coming bizarre review. So, what's the story? Set after the events of the film, the Mars troops are in full retreat with the Joes in hot pursuit. A bit of communication interception reveals, however, that there's an even bigger threat out there, Cobra. Tracing back the chain of command, expect to shoot up a lot of Mars and Cobra troops as you destroy one playset hidden fortress after another, all the while taking on more signature characters than you can shake a franchise accessory deal at. Nothing new here, but the plot isn't too important when you've got more bullets than brain cells. And there's no shortage in the game. All your favourites from the toy line and the film itself are here, vaguely recreated in their current access form. There's Duke and Ripcord, the new recruits, and squad legends Heavy Duty and Scarlet, as well as the deadly katana-wielding ninja Snake Eyes. Those are just the characters from the film. You also get to play as some of the evil Cobra forces. There are new contacts to unlock as you find their dog tags throughout the levels. Fans of the cartoon series and the toys themselves may remember such classics as Beachhead and Blastback, to name but a few. A good selection of Joes, each with their own defining feature, making them an individual in their own special, unique way. Where does all the action take place then? Well, the levels play out over 4 different backdrops, beginning in the snowy and white Arctic, followed by the hot and beige desert. You then move on to the sweaty and green jungle before finally ramping things up back in the white levels, the snow levels, renamed from Arctic to Tundra. Within these areas you will then battle through open plains and corridor-filled hidden facilities. Okay, there isn't a lot of variation here. The backdrops within each section starts with more and more similar the more you pay attention to them. But frankly, what are you doing looking at the scenery when there are cobras to shoot, Joe?
Excellent. That tactic should work for just about anything with an external power source.
That woke him up. Incoming!
Oh yes, the gimmicks now. And G.I Joe may not have as many gimmicks as its range of toys, but it has got a few. On a side note, you